So we've had some interesting communication from DTG Alex today. Some rather disappointing communication, and one that has not been received very well. Some people, I think, are in a little bit of denial. Some people are just trying to defend Dovetail. I I won't rip into any kind of, I don't know, oh, this is such a bad plan because I'm just too tired. But this is kind of poor. Like, you get train simulator, and you're not gonna make steam trains. If you haven't seen this, I'll just explain it. Someone, a few weeks back, I think, posted a forum thread basically saying that there was a rumor going around that someone from Dovetail um, sort of let slip that Steam content was off off the scope of Train Sim World, off the scope of Dovetail. They were putting it aside for now, with no timeline as for any further content. In effect, they've shelved it indefinitely, and the forum thread was kicking around for a while. Most people were just saying, "We don't care what the response is, just confirm or deny." That seems like something that Dovetail is very hard to do for them, is just to say whether something is true or not. But granted, they did come out today, or yesterday, and say, yes, we're not working on Steam at the moment. It's not something we're actively working on, which is why it isn't on the roadmap content. And they go on to kind of blow smoke up their ass. We've seen a selection of external developers getting in contact, but that's not we might do it in future. That is, other people might do it in future, and we might publish their content for you. But and they go and say they're very early discussions, and their community, they're not, well, they might be third parties, but they say here as a result of the PC editor. So that's, I would expect that's just passionate people of the community, not like the likes of Rivet Games or Just Trains or whatnot. And then they go on to say, don't believe rumors unless we tell them to you, which a lot of people, buy that, but it's very clearly not true, because the amount of rumors that turn out to be true. But yeah, I thought I'd just sort of explain why Dovetail might be dropping Steam, and it's not hard to fathom why. Yes, you can see that. So this is that is not. This is Spirit of Steam, right? The first Steam route they made. Now, apparently, this route was chosen because it's a bit of an odd route, an odd choice for the first ever adventure into Steam, right? I was expecting, because they said, oh, we're going to do Steam trains. I expected that to be, okay, we'll do a little locomotive to run up and down West Somerset, right? Something they can just focus on getting the loco right, getting it to work, see how the community likes it, and then they can build a route for it later. That's not what they did. They went for 2 locomotives on a very large route, all things considered. Not necessarily in length, but the scale, the huge yards, huge or relatively large timetable, and the enormous variation in character. It was a big undertaking, and apparently the reason why they did it is because outgoing CEO Paul Jackson wanted to be able to stand at Crewe railway station in the game in sort of the 1950s, when steam trains were still being used predominantly in British Rail, but post-war. And he said, I want this to happen before I leave the company, and so they made it. That sounds like a little bit of a top-down dictatorship to me, not the best way to run a company, but I'm not the one to tell Dovetail how to manage themselves, I guess. I mean, I've tried doing that before, and people get quite angry. Yeah, that's apparently why they did this route. And surprise, surprise, because the scope was too large, and steam trains are very complicated, very hard to simulate properly, especially when you're having to use an in-house simulation tool that was not built to do steam trains. It works reasonably well for electric and diesel, but evidently it doesn't work very well for steam. It didn't work very well. You can see over here, well, I haven't turned the cursor on, let's try and Capture cursor, fantastic. You can see over here, it's not great positive ratings. 75% say it's good. That's not fantastic, right? Now, obviously, they upgraded it with the new TOD system and whatever else, but it was never fantastic, and it was plagued with physics bugs. Water usage was never factored. Coal usage was never factored. You can't reload. Well, you can in scenarios, but there's no room in the service mode to restock the trains, resupply the water, fill up the tender with coal. There's no scope for that. They had to make the route, and it's fine. Like it's passable, but it doesn't set a good benchmark for Steam content, is what I'm trying to say. It wasn't spectacular, and I think most people were expecting Steam route to be right. We'll try and nail this one, and then we can work on building a route around it. But they sort of did the opposite. The route's okay, but the trains are not very good. Then of course we came out with Peak Forest. Peak Forest was a bit of a shit show. It was better. The physics hadn't really changed, not really at all. But we got another locomotive. That's cool. We got the 4F, but there were issues that plagued the Spirit of Steam that caused Peak Forest to sell really badly. People were scared off by the poor physics. They were scared off by the general sort of rough and ready feel, and so Peak Forest sold really poorly. You can see here, this is the Train Sim mode compatible. I'm sure if I pulled up the actual Peak Forest, the Train Sim World 3 route, there'd be a few more reviews. There you go, 20 and 5. But that's bad, right? We're back to, that's worse than Spirit of Steam. And you can see how there's 25 reviews on there and 140 on there. So it cannot have sold well. And obviously, Dovetail don't really look at reviews or feedback or any kind of suggestions from the community when they're determining what routes to do and what routes not to do. They look at their balance sheet and they see this route, they see it hasn't made much money, and they think, oh, yeah, let's maybe not do Steam routes. Same way we haven't got BR Blue from Dovetail in a while, the same way we have not got American routes or American freight routes. The same way we've only ever had one US heritage freight route, Clinchfield, because it sold badly because less people like US heritage freight. But there was some niggly bits of that route, and it would have sold a lot better if they were ironed out. Then, obviously, the only other Steam content was the Flying Scotsman. It didn't come with a route, but still had the same botched physics. It was modelled spectacularly, but the sounds are a little bit off, and it still got the same botched mechanics. So, you can see why these and like, how many reviews does this have? 8 reviews and a really poor positive negative ratio. Steam hasn't sold well, but I don't think that is because people don't like Steam. Steam, the Steam is the epitome of the railway, right? You think of trains, you think of the good days of rail, and you think of steam locomotives. The problem is not that people don't like them. The problem is that Dovetail did not do a good job at them. And the solution to that is not to abandon them and maybe come back to them at a later date. Who knows? The solution is to fix the physics problems, make them work properly in Simugraph, and just make them better. If you put some manpower and some money into this project, it will do a lot better. And understandably, a lot of American and also continental enthusiasts are a bit pissed off because we've had 4 British steam locomotives and nothing from anywhere else. A lot of people would really like to see a big boy pack for Sherman Hill, for example, or something for the northeast, or even for the southwest, the routes we have down there. And likewise, people want to see stuff in Germany. s-bahn was a period German route, and it sold reasonably well because it was well made. Um, if you did the same thing for a Steam route, I think the same thing would happen. But whatever. Let me know what you think. Obviously, it's very disappointing. Very disappointing. But yeah, that's that. So we won't be seeing Steam content for some time. Um, Obviously, if they come out and the next roadmap is suddenly, oh well, we've got Steam trains, look at us, then I will eat my hat. But and for the few of you who are probably going, oh well, this is misinformation. They haven't said they're cancelling Steam. This is look, come on, read between the lines. They're dovetail. It is not something we're actively working on. That says it all, right? If they said we're thinking of doing it in the future, they said we might pick it up in the future. They haven't. I want to see like reasons behind. I want them to tell us the reasons why. I mean, we know already because they sold poorly and they didn't make money. But I'd like to try and hear them justify this. Anyway, I'll leave it there. I'm going to get carried away otherwise. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic day, and I shall see you next time. Let me know what you think in the comments. And goodbye.